All right, Thomas Partey, Ben White, Jorginho, doubtful for the game of Real Madrid that's going to be played in Bernabeu, Santiago. That is on Wednesday. It's one day and some hours left for this match to obviously happen down there. Remember, in the first leg, Arsenal won it by 3-0, and we're here to wait and see whether a shocker will obviously happen at the Bernabeu. By the way, if Arsenal knocks out Madrid, it will be a shocker, because very many people were like, Arsenal cannot knock out Real Madrid, and I was one of those people who really called in for this fixture if at all Arsenal wanted to obviously knock out Real Madrid. You remember when? That was even when Arsenal had gone ahead to beat PSV by 7-1 in the first leg of the round of 16. So for my case, I'm not really shocked at any point that Arsenal is really doing the needful, and they might obviously knock out Real Madrid. And after that, I want to let you know that if Madrid knocks out Arsenal, for me it will be a shocker. That is because I know that Real Madrid cannot really handle defending against Arsenal, and they've been conceding very many set pieces. If at all you've been watching the La Liga several times. So Thomas Partey is one of those that you're going to be talking about, plus a player known as Ceballos, who has come out and obviously had something to say about Arsenal. Remember, he was loaned at Real Madrid. He was loaned at Arsenal by Real Madrid, and he has something to say. Now, smash the like button, comment and share, and continue to subscribe, because we want to hit the magic number that you know really very well. That is the magic number that you know very well, that is 30,000 subscribers in here onto this channel. Now, let's obviously go eyes. Now, Thomas Partey never really completed the game that Arsenal had to play against Brentford over the weekend. And after the game, the manager had the following to say that Thomas Partey felt something, so we didn't want to take any risks. And I've always gone ahead to let you know that the physios of Arsenal have always learned from their mistakes. And after they kept a player known as Julian Timber onto the pitch for so long, and he went ahead to obviously undergo what we call a surgery for the crescent ligament knee injury, and was out for almost a season. They've always told these players that if at all you feel something, just raise up your hand and obviously get out of the pitch, because prevention is better than cure. And when Thomas Partey really had that, he really said to the manager and the physio team, I want to obviously get out, because he knows to it that they have a very big game to play, and that he is coming very soon. It's coming very soon, and that he is Wednesday. And Thomas Partey was like, I was really integral into what happened when Arsenal was really beating the side of Real Madrid, and I would love to again be integral when Arsenal is taking on the side of Real Madrid again at the Santiago Bernabeu. And why is Partey very important? Partey is very important because he was at Atletico Madrid, and the Madrid derby is when Real Madrid is playing Atletico Madrid. And for the years that he was there, he was part of such games in there for you. And we look at Thomas Partey. He joined Arsenal, I think, in 2020, right? 2020, 2021. If his contract is expiring this summer, that means he joined in 2020. And that means he left Atletico Madrid in 2020. And Thomas Partey joined Atletico Madrid in 2013. And he started playing there frequently in 2015. And he was there at Atletico Madrid and played very many games, meaning that for the seasons, or for the 5 seasons that he was there, he played in this derby 10 times, especially in the league, and they also played some Champions League. Well, let us count in the league, because every time they face off each other, this is obviously one of the biggest derbies to discuss about in world football. And this is what makes him very important. He's one of those players that knows the atmosphere of the Santiago Bernabeu, and he is one of those that will obviously tell the fans of Arsenal what to really expect. You understand? Because for him, he played in that derby, and you know what that derby means. So that's why he's really very important into this encounter, and that is Thomas Partey. But we wait to see whether he'll be training tomorrow with the club of Arsenal. I know they rested for Sunday and Monday. I think they'll go into some light training. The same applies to tomorrow, and then fly to Madrid to obviously take on the side of Real Madrid. That is Arsenal for you. And for Partey, he is needed in this game. He is going to be very integral into that midfield, as his experience is going to be very, very important. Now, we've had stories coming in through from Arsenal that even Jorginho is one of those that has gone ahead to find himself injured, and his ribs really went ahead to obviously get a problem. And the manager of Arsenal came up and obviously had the following to say about the ribs of this player known as Jorginho. He said, "It looks like it. I don't exactly know. He had problems breathing. He said he could not carry on." So he was also really taken off the pitch. That is Jorginho, and Arsenal are really looking like a team whose squad is really thickening every other day that passes by, and having two players doubtful for the game of Real Madrid in that midfield makes the job of Arsenal very, very difficult, because if you don't have Partey and Jorginho, that means you're left with Declan Rice, Mikel Merino, Martin Odegaard, Ethan Nwaneri. We saw the manager over the weekend trying out Zinchenko in the midfield. Maybe the manager would love to obviously try out Zinchenko when they're really playing away at the Santiago Bernabeu. So it looks like the manager is readying himself for these injuries that he really went ahead to get. But for Jorginho, it might be hard to come. But for Thomas Partey, he's not really doubtful. And I think if at all, even if it means to obviously do the needful for these players to be available, I think they'll obviously do an injection that kills pain, will obviously be given to them. Then Diarios coming in through from Spain have told us that Mikel Merino will play in the midfield versus Real Madrid. Partey isn't fit. So they are telling us of what might happen if Mikel Merino, if Thomas Partey doesn't pass the late fitness test tomorrow, and they're like, he's obviously going to be replaced by by the one and only Mikel Merino. And I think Mikel Merino will play in the deep six to give Thomas Partey, to give Declan Rice that drive of really playing box-to-box as a box-to-box midfielder in there. So we're here to wait and see how that happens. But as we look through the midfield, that means it is really weakening. But if Thomas Partey alone returns, it will really be a very huge boost in there for you. But I have a belief that Thomas Partey will obviously return and really show up for this encounter. I'm really very, very sure. But for Real Madrid in their midfield, they won't be having Camavinga, but Tchouaméni will return. And if Tchouaméni returns, you need to be having a Thomas Partey to see how he'll obviously take on his this counterpart, or his midfield opponent into that game. That is Thomas Partey. So we wait and see how that pans out. But as that comes to pass, even Benjamin White never was part of the game of Brentford, and the manager really went ahead to obviously give a very huge Ben White update. He said, again, we don't know. He could be in the condition to be in the squad today and be selected. We have few days, but we have to wait and see. So the manager is really one of those that are saying that he couldn't be in condition to be in the squad on Saturday, but they wait to see whether he'll be in the condition to obviously travel to the side of Real Madrid. By the way, you need all these players with you if you are Arsenal, because Madrid can shock everyone and really score 3 goals and they go to extra time. You understand? And if they go to extra time, you know what happens. Players will team will need to bring on players that are really having light foot to obviously come and obviously take on these other players. So we wait and see how that pans out, but I'm telling you the truth that it's really going to be a very hard game for Real Madrid. Then Dani Ceballos, a Real Madrid player, has come out and said, Arsenal, we need to give out 200%. We need our fans and everyone to believe, just like we believe. We need everyone more than ever. The opening minutes will be very important against Arsenal on Wednesday. So, the opening minutes will be very important, and Madrid is going to be coming at Arsenal, Very, 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 very threatening, And they'll be looking for the first goal. And both teams will be looking for the first goal, one, and they will also be looking not to concede the first goal. So every team that concedes the first goal, or scores the first goal, will obviously have put itself in a position to compete for who is going to be playing the semi-finals of the Champions League. He's talking about the fans, that the fans need to believe in Real Madrid. I know with the fans of Real Madrid, this is like a cult. It's something they know can happen, and they're like, we can turn this around, but not against a team like Arsenal, whose defense has gone ahead to concede only 4 goals in the Champions League. Against PSV, 2 against, I think they conceded 3 against PSV, right? Then they had conceded 1 against Sporting Lisbon and 1 against Inter Milan. So, and we wait to see how that happens. But Thomas Partey is doubtful, Jorginho is doubtful, and Ben White is doubtful for the game of Real Madrid. Your reactions to this are welcome in the comment section below. First video of the day, and more other videos are loading. This is the Rokani Media Football. We out.